Planning Commission. He probably served on for 20 years or more.
Motion to accept his resignation.
Yeah, I make motion that we accept it with regret.
Second.
And we should send him correspondence letting him know that we appreciate his time.
How do you vote? Dave?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Zach?
Yes. Motion to advertise for letters of interest to fill the vacancy on the Planning Commission.
Dave, you have a question about that?
Before you continue on with that second part, I would ask the supervisors not to advertise Keith Small's position. I would ask that you entertain to reduce this back to 5. We're closing in very close to finishing up the zoning ordinances, and I don't see any purpose for us to having 7 people on the commission at all. Once we roll back, as our annual report has stated, once we roll back to our normal business, sometimes we don't even have meetings, so we don't have anything to review or discuss. In addition to that, in the Planning Commission of Pennsylvania Series 2 pamphlet, at the back of it, it has a model ordinance for creating planning commission. You could use this template to create an ordinance to roll us back to 5 and also put us in the proper position of being guided in the right direction using that ordinance. And also, on page 26, it has a suggested bylaws for the Planning Commission, and I ask that you use that also as a template to set up bylaws for the Planning Commission and direct how we do our business.
Gary, will the job of the Planning Commission change any once the if the zoning ordinance passes?
They'll be more active, much more active.
Do you think it might be wise to revisit that ordinance and the ordinance that creates it, or the ordinance that establishes 7 members, and further define it? I haven't read that sample ordinance, but it defines what their duties are and what their expectations are. And you say there was some other document?
Yeah, there's 2 documents. One is the ordinance itself. Model ordinance for creating a planning commission. It gives guidelines to do that, to set it up. And the other one is bylaws for the planning commission. And once we set up zoning, don't we have to set up a zoning board? Isn't that separate from what planning commission does?
Zoning hearing board, separate
Yes.
from the planning commission.
Right.
Good, Kathy.
Well, considering that we were at the Planning Commission last month and the resident did not actually ask for a variance, nor did the Planning Commission grant a variance, unlike what Lee Rogers reported to you guys, I'm going to say you could use all the help you can get.
I'm going to move that we take a look at that model ordinance and see if we can incorporate the changes that might be coming down the road into something more workable than what we have.
Well, the biggest item you have to decide is whether or not you want to decrease the planning commission board from 7 to 5 members. That would definitely require an amendment to the ordinance.
I think that because that ordinance, there's been more than one ordinance over the years to create the planning commission, and then some of the duties are enumerated in the land division or subdivision and mobile home park ordinance. Some of them are in the MPC. I think it'd be nice to have a concise ordinance that's consistent with the law says, and I'm okay with 5. And I would move that we'll go ahead and draft that as a proposal using that template, and we can consider it down the road. But I'll make a motion to draft, incorporate that draft ordinance from who?
DCED. That's from the DCED, that's planning, number 2.
Planning Commission of Pennsylvania, Planning Series number 2.
Yeah, in accordance with that, and look at those bylaws that's in there. I don't think we have bylaws right now. I don't know if they've seen them.
No, there's no bylaw.
And that would be my motion.
So are you guys going to kick one off, or?
I think, if I remember what I read someplace along the way, that tells you how to increase and how to decrease.
Last
I think you do it by
one.
attrition. You don't kick anybody off.
Well, I would really object. I really think that he should discuss it with the planning commission before he took it to you guys.
Good, Ed.
I don't know anything about zoning or the planning commission, but what I'm listening to is the stuff that comes up in zoning, does it have to go to the planning commission and then to a zoning hearing board? Is that what I'm understanding, or does it just go to the zoning board?
There are enumerated items in the municipalities planning code that go to the zoning hearing board. The main one being variances. Let's say a zoning ordinance for a residential district says that you have to have 20-foot side yard setbacks to build a house. And because of the configuration of the lot, the property owner says, I can't meet that, I need to be within 10 feet. Well, you would go to the zoning hearing board to get a variance for that 10 feet. That's just an example of how the zoning hearing board works. The planning commission deals with land uses, deals with amendments to the zoning ordinance that affect land uses, and also they review subdivision and land development applications, similar to what they have been doing all these years.
Yeah, so they
What will be added to will be the actual zoning ordinance that would come into play.
Does that variance then have to be presented to the zoning board?
No, zoning hearing board-
That illustration you just articulated, does that variance then have to be taken to the zoning board for an approval, or would that be the approval?
No, the applicant would make, well, let's say you have a
You just did it.
subdivision and land development where the person says, I've got this lot, and he goes to the planning commission and they say, well, you've drawn a house that's 10 feet from the side yard.
Right.
The ordinance says 20 feet.
Right.
We can't approve that.
Right,
He would then file an appeal. He or
Right.
she would file an appeal to the zoning hearing board
okay,
and request the variance. They would issue a written decision, and then that would bind the rest of the township on that particular development.
Which in the borough is going to be the case if people want to build a doghouse.
that's right, good.
I would suggest that, 2 points. With all the expansion, all the development, all the gas and oil, all this zoning stuff, you certainly don't want to decrease the board and representation from 7 to 5. Because then, 7, you have to have 5, or I guess, 4 to have a quorum, 5, you only have to have 3. So then you could potentially have 3 people making decisions for 3,000. With everything going on, and you guys, trying to implement all these new rules and regulations, zoning and so forth, there's 2 extra heads, minds, opinions, I think are valuable, and you just put 2 new people on recently, or 3 recently. Why would you want to decrease it all of a sudden? Heath was a long-standing member. I think you guys gave out a plaque for something not too long ago to somebody. If somebody deserves a plaque, I would say you would consider providing him with a plaque for his dedication
Why
to
don't you ask
service.
him why he quit?
What's that?
You need to ask him why he quit.
That's not what I'm stating. I'm
Well,
saying,
I mean, that would be wise,
I have a pretty good idea why he quit. What I'm saying is, he served his community for a long time.
Absolutely did.
He did a good job of it,
He did.
and I think he deserves commended for it.
And I
think he
and
was
I
a
agree with you.
fair and honest and impartial, cut and dry, black and white, no gray area kind of guy, and that's how we
And he
need
did it,
him.
and he did it totally for free.
Right, and I think he should be commended for that.
Absolutely.
And I think we need more people like that on the board.
I agree with you.
And I also agree that should have been brought, I think Kathy brought that up, or somebody, that should be brought up and discussed at the planning commission prior to coming to you guys.
We have a motion and a second on the floor.
Good.
So our current ordinance reads 7 for the planning commission, is that correct?
That's
You
correct.
have this on here to replace it, so why is all this other discussion going on? Why can't you move forward and advertise to have that position, since our current ordinance does read 7? And if I understood correctly, is there a current zoning, is it a draft ready for us to look at?
It's one online available,
It's online?
yes. think it came out a couple days ago.
It's not quite finished, it doesn't have mobile home park, so.
Yeah, it's the bulk of it. It doesn't have the additional
So it
ordinances.
won't be ready for next month.
Good,
So,
Kathy.
so am I correct then, the current ordinance reads 7, so why is all this discussion?
And for 25 years, we only had 5.
My question is the current
I understand your
ordinance
point,
with 7?
ma'am.
I'm asking you for an answer.
I have nothing to answer.
Excuse me.
Good, Kathy.
It is 7. Thank you, Derek.
I told you that. You
Okay.
didn't listen.
Right now, you have a motion to review
Disrespect.
the DCED plan recommendations, which I think you can still do without changing the number of planning
That
commission
has to be decided now.
members.
That's correct.
Okay, so can you handle that and then continue with
We can
whatever you're
withdraw
gonna
the
do?
number out of it and put the number in at the end of later date. Yeah.
So then what you're saying is you're not going to appoint anybody? You're not going to advertise?
Motion was to have the model ordinance, our ordinance become the model ordinance, or the model ordinance become ours.
Doug, Doug,
With a motion on
Doug,
the table.
no,
That wasn't the ordinance.
wait, that's not.
You said
the
yourself you
motion.
had not read it or reviewed it.
We just said it.
You said
No,
yourself you had not read it or reviewed
I
it.
have not reviewed it.
So why would you put a motion to put something in place that you have no idea what it
Put out
says?
by the DCED and their recommendations.
I just said you.
Wait.
I'm not gonna.
This motion does not adopt that ordinance tonight.
No,
That's not how it works.
That's what you
Just
just said.
I know, and that's, I'm
No,
correct.
what he
I'm
just
correct.
said.
The motion is, we need to get a draft.
A draft
I need to
ordinance.
look at that. I need to put it
Yes.
in proper form for you to review, to say yea or nay to it.
That's correct.
That's all this motion tonight will do.
Okay.
Let's create the
To
draft.
be fair, that is not what he just said.
And I'm
Okay, I may not have
correcting
said
him.
that, that's what I intended.
And also, he did not answer her question about 7. He did not. I didn't hear it if you did, and I'm sitting below.
Let's move on. We have a motion on the floor.
How do you vote?
Motion to draft that.
Back to the draft, yes. Yes.
How do you vote?
First motion is to fill the vacancy is the open motion. You have a motion on the floor then. Harry, can they have 2 open motions on the floor currently? Because that's what he has right now.
I think we're gonna go to that next.
Well, they have right now the motion, the first motion that they have open right now is to fill the vacancy.
No, we didn't make that motion, ma'am. That motion
You
was not
did,
made.
you did make that
No, I
motion.
did not make that motion.
Discussion started. Yeah, that's how the
That motion
discussion
was not
started.
made, no. It was not made. You better read that, there's been no motion made.
I think you guys made the motion, Lisa, before you move on to the second part.
No, we did
He
not
had a
make the
question
motion, we did
about
not
the-
make the motion.
That's not how they had it worked out before this whole thing started.
Wow.
The road department has recommended the township.
Just to make it clear, that motion, there's no motion made on that motion.
Yeah, there is no motion made to advertise the vacancy for the planning commission. All
So
right.
you withdrew the motion.
We didn't make the motion.
Okay.
It's on the, what she's saying is on the agenda.
It is on the agenda, the motion was not made, that's correct.
You table.
It's maybe.
Wouldn't you have to make it before you tabled it, and they didn't make it, they say now?
Motion, the correct thing to do would be motion to
I'll move that
table.
we table that motion on advertising for appointment.
Need a second?
How do you vote? Dave? Doug?
Yes.
Zach?
Is that, are you guys just making a motion to table to the next meeting, or
We're just tabling it, Jamie. Okay? Just table it.
indefinitely?
So, can I ask a question? Does that mean that you're deciding that there's only going to be 5 or 6?
We never said that, no.
They would have
Oh,
to
okay,
change
that's
the
what I
motion.
was hearing, that's why I'm asking.
The road department has recommended the township seek bids for phase 1 of the construction. Excuse me, we're having a meeting here.
Are we?
Kathy, I don't need no sarcasm from you. The road department has recommended the township seek bids for phase 1 of the construction of a new township maintenance garage. The building is to be bid. The building to be bid is a post-type construction. Motion to approve send an engineer to prepare specs and advertising for bids to construct phase 1 of the new garage.
Ed, you wanna talk about, a little bit about what phase one is?
Phase one would be, well, the way I understand it anyhow, phase one is to get our engineers to draw up the plans. Once they get the plans drawn up, I think it was in their proposal to do the advertising, the whole 9 yards. The building will be posts, skirt board floors, and the sheeting, roof and sides. And then gravel floor until we get down the road and see where our money is, to see if we can go with the concrete floor. A lot of the work will be done by the road crew on the interior. It'll cost the township material. And we figure that's the best way to go for the best bang for our buck.
The engineering fees will be $11,300 for that scope up of work.
Yeah, I think that, is it on there, Doug, that they are gonna do the advertising? I believe I read that somewhere on there.
Yeah, prepare the advertising for bids, solicit the qualified bidders, provide preliminary screening of prospective bidders. All the enumerations on there. We got a couple.
Yeah, we have no motion yet.
Oh, okay. I'll move that we engage Senate Engineering. I think we've already had previously approved the advertising, but we'll do it again, to advertise this structure.
Second. Any questions? Go ahead.
Why was Senate Engineering targeted for this particular agenda item, or was it previously put out for bid and they were selected, or what?
They are our official township engineer.
Okay.
They were appointed at every organization meeting in January.
Thank you.
Darren?
Just to be clear, because I wasn't sure on it, from what Ed had said, the building, he just said it was going to be 70 by 100. Do you have an estimated cost on that, or are you just going to go with throwing 11,000 towards it and see how much it's going to cost at the end of that? Do you have any idea what's going to cost?
We have some estimated costs.
I have estimated cost.
What was it?
I have some estimated cost.
But not as a whole. This isn't the same building that was that one for $500,000.
No, this is a post frame, post construction wood. And the numbers that I have contacted to get, these are ballpark numbers, nothing set in stone.
Right.
From 170 down to 125,000
For the shell.
for the shell of the bid.
That's a whole lot cheaper than it was. Yeah, much.
And that is with prevailing wage. But none of that's set in stone until the engineers get it drawn up, you get the bid packets out, and the bids come in and they be open, and you'll know what your numbers are. That's the official way it has to be done.
Will that have to be prevailing wage job?
Yes.
So that means when yous are working on it, yous will get prevailing wage?
No.
I just asked.
Yeah, they will. Yeah, they will.
Unfortunately.
Go ahead.
So then the 11.3 is for the drawing up of specs and advertising.
It doesn't pay for the actual advertising. They're gonna conduct the advertising. You're gonna put the ads out, they're gonna pay for the ads.
But the 11.3 is the fee that you will be paying the engineers?
Yes.
Got it.
Bob, you have something?
Yeah, you had talked about the roof and the sides. Are the doors included in that, or?
Yeah, then when they do their drawing, the doors will be included.
Well, okay, they'll be included, but they'll also be in the bid?
Yes.
Okay.
What about climate control, heating, cooling, whatever? Will that also be part of the bid?
No. Just the shell of the building.
You allowed to use active heating for this?
Yes.
Yes.
They don't want heat.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
Dave,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Zach?
Yes.
The daycare center on the upper level of the community center wishes to expand their operations into unused space on the second floor. Modifications to the heating and air conditioning system is necessary. The cost is anticipated to be about $10,000 to upgrade the system of 2 classrooms, 2 restrooms, as well as potential long-term records room for the township. The solicitor has given an opinion that the township could use Act 13 funds for this project. Motion to seek proposals or advertise bids to make the HVAC upgrades to the second floor of the community center.
I move that we solicit bids and or quotations. I guess it could be, depending on how the number comes in, it could be, we can do it by quotes. What's the bid thresholds?
0 to 10, you can contract 10 to, I'm just using around 20. You can do it with 3 quotes. Anything over the 20 would be advertised.
Okay, then it won't need to be advertised, but it won't be over that. Looks like it's gonna be around 10,000 from information I can gather. I would move that we, at least we solicit bids and see what the cost comes in at.
Second.
Any questions?
Yeah, I got one. What kind of cost, what do you get back out of the roofs? You're spending $10,000.
It won't take long to get it back.
She pays $900 a month
Okay.
for what she has up there now before the additional space.
Good, Ed.
Is this the same space that you okayed in a previous meeting for her to use at an extra $100 a month?
No.
This is a different space?
This is different.
She's already using that other space?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Good.
How many children are being cared for in the daycare center, and how many more does she determine that it may expand to? I mean, there's a reason to expand, there must be.
I'm not sure how many she has, but there's a waiting list.
Okay, now my next question, fine. Did this building ever cease to be a school?
It's been vacant for several years.
That doesn't take it off of the descriptive, I don't know what, did it ever cease officially to be a school?
I can answer that.
Yes.
We tried to get some crossing signals and such for the bus stops and stuff, and the state denied us because this is not a school facility.
This is not a school.
Yes, sir, that was
Now,
2 years ago.
And that is where I'm going, because if you get a bunch of kids in a daycare, you're running close to a school. And that could be a conflict with a police department.
Yeah, the daycare facility is a state licensed daycare facility under the Pennsylvania Department of Public Welfare. They come in and inspect it every so often. That's why the renovations had to be done in the gymnasium. They come in and say, hey, you got paint flicking off the walls. We can't have that. You have to cover it. It's state inspected and meets their approval. That was one of the reasons that we wanted to protect the children. We had this set of doors in the hallway that's got locks on it. You can't come through unless you know the password.
Right.
That's why it's there. Yeah.
I was thinking like the 300-foot
No,
rule.
we're just talking about the daycare program.
Right,
There's
right.
also the aftercare program, which is about 30 kids in that program. And I think the daycare, if I remember the numbers, was close to 50. I was thinking it was 50, 59 or 60 in there someplace. And they have people wanting in it, they can't get in.
But this seems to be a Mobius strip. What used to be a school ceased to be a school and is coming back to being a school.
Well, it is to some extent.
Good, Tammy.
My question is, I know that she has to be, her license, they have to state what rooms the kids are allowed in before she receives her license, because I've talked to them. I've actually talked to the state and the licensing agency. Is it something that maybe we need to see if they're going to approve her for this extra space? Because the kids aren't allowed to be there unless it's written on her license. And I'm just asking, is that something that she's checking into before we put in
That was something
money?
she would have to, that's really not our responsibility. The last space that she rented from Ms. Ed for the $100 is office space. She rented an old office, second floor office.
I didn't know, I was just asking.
Yeah. We got 2 restrooms up there to serve the children that is not heated at all. There is no heat. What they did, took a small classroom and divided it in half, and made a boys and girls restroom, and there's no heat in there whatsoever. And there's no air conditioning on most of that floor, and in the summertime, you gotta be real careful about opening the windows and so forth with the small children. And the window air conditioners is really not recommended.
Good, you have your hand up?
Yeah, I was just
Eddie and Frank's are good school board members, maybe you can help us out with the crossing guard and some lights out there. We got a big school bus stop, maybe you guys can help us out.
I have an orange vest, but it don't fit me anymore.
Any other questions? How you vote?
Dave,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes,
Zach,
Yeah.
if I can ask, going back to the Senate Engineering,
yes.
that is to be paid for with Act 13?
Yeah, that can be, that's part of that project.
Okay, I just want to make sure we have it in the minutes.
Okay, one quick question for you. Do you know what kind of heating and air conditioning they're proposing for there?
Gas, heating and air, or gas heat. They're talking about a central furnace that will heat those, I think, 4 rooms total that will heat. It might not get air conditioning to all 4, it may only be 3, but the condenser unit probably to go on the roof. That's what's been proposed.
Maybe just a suggestion or possibility, like those Mitsubishi
We looked
independent, like
at
a
those
hotel room that's heating and
independently,
air conditioning.
and it was, the ballpark number we had on the whole complete heating system for that half the building was about $10,000. The Mitsubishi system for one classroom was between $6,000 and $7,000. So, and it didn't get the other rooms. So at that point, it didn't make dollar cents to look at it. But until bids come in, I mean, that's the best system that we probably could get, but the cost-wise, we have to upgrade the wiring, and that's gonna get another like $2,300 or $2,400 to run the right power up there to run it. So that was one of the, maybe one of the deciding factors.
Are you saying that you rejected the Mitsubishi?
No, we didn't reject it. We asked for a quote from a company.
Okay.
And they come in and quoted one of those systems. But what they were looking at was window units that served as heating and air conditioning.
Okay.
And two of them with the wiring upgrade, the box upgrade was going to be a little over $6,000. And I got 1 room.
Oh.
This gets that whole side of the building, which is 4 rooms. Maybe, depending on if you count the little in storage room that we might, we're always running out of space to put records and documents and police light bars and stuff like that. We don't have storage space in the building.
Yep.
But that could be used as storage space, 1 room. On what used to be the nurse's office if you went to school here.
Oh, yeah.
Columbia Gas Transmission has submitted 2 road bonding applications for hauling on Wilhelm and Old National Pike.
Road bonding applications are before us. Here's a $6,000 check with Columbia Gas Transmission on that one. Here's a $500 check. And paperwork is here. Is it complete? I move that we adopt or grant that road bond application.
Second.
Any questions?
Yeah, how's that possible? Wilhelm Road ends at Lyons Road. How's that not bonded also? You can't turn around on Wilhelm Road anywhere without turning around at Lyons. Which I'd ask the same question about Delashon also. When they're bonding Delashon, how's Lyons not bonded also?
I know, when I talked to Mark West about it, they bonded the intersection of Wilhelm and Lyons because that was their turnaround point.
Okay, is that what's happening?
I haven't talked to Columbia. This is the first I've heard about them wanting to bond.
So they need to bond
Wherever they're gonna turn around. Anytime they're bringing big equipment in somewhere and there's not a turnaround, they have to bond to their turnaround point.
Okay.
Or build a turnaround. Some of them have built places to turn around.
Does Delashon come out on Beeham Ridge or does it end at the intersection? Where does Delashon go clear to Beeham Ridge?
No,
Or does it stop at the, Wilhelm come to Beeham Ridge?
Wilhelm runs into Lyons, Lyons runs.
Lyons is the only one that comes to BM.
Lyons comes on through?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, they would have to bond, they would have to figure out where they're gonna be turning the truck.
Right. Yep, you're right. I agree.
Table that until.
Well, yeah, we can get, let's approve those contingent upon them. The other one in.
Lions also.
Yeah, I think that makes more sense.
Okay.
I'll amend that to make a motion to approve those pending the rectification of the bond.
Okay.
And I believe that Arthur, or whatever they are, I believe they came off of Beeham Ridge, bonded that section of Lyons to Delashore.
Okay.
I believe that's how theirs is split up.
I'll vote on that.
So how do you vote? J.B. Ellie?
Yes.
Doug Teagarden?
Yes.
Zach?
Yes.
Additions to the agenda.
You wrote the additions down.
Yeah, I did already. Okay, the first one was, have I got these? Oh, I'm sorry, no, you're right. Yeah, this is Northwest in front, yeah, Northwest. If they have to pay the additional $550, or if it's waived.
Let's say if it's expired, you're gonna have to pay it.
Yeah. I'll move that we not grant this waiver.
Not granted.
Questions? Good.
I don't understand, like a bond, so when they bonded the road and they said they didn't use it, and they're rolling the bond over, if they would have used that bond, then they do a new bond, correct? But what constitutes like actual use of the bond? Because was it when they put the pipeline in? Or what was the,
Or move the trees afterwards.
when was this bond, what was this bond specifically for?
That was a pipeline, Northwest
Yeah,
pipeline
and
outfit.
right, and they subcontracted to Price Gregory, who used the road constantly.
That's what I was thinking, that it was Price Gregory that ran the road. Actually, not Mark West. Mark West carried the bond for Price Gregory.
Yeah, and it was used, there's no way they didn't use that.
But our fee's not, our motion's not on the bond, it's on their application.
Well, I just would like,
Yeah.
can I
Yes,
find out
sir.
what,
A bond-
because they're saying they didn't use the bond. I'm saying they did.
No, they're saying they didn't use the road.
Oh, okay, well, they used the road.
Yeah.
That was all of that then.
Which in turn makes them use the bond.
They have a right of way they haven't used, runs into Village on Columbia's property now, that crosses over the old airstrip.
Yeah, but
They
they're
were
saying,
moving stumps last year and trees from that.
yeah,
So either way, Mark West, whoever you want to call it, they use
right,
it.
they used the road. And I'm saying a
Yeah,
lot.
because the subcontractors ride under the